Hey guys, welcome to King's Corner, where I talk about books I've read and new things I've realized about those books. And today we're going to talk about my favorite book series of all time, and it has to be Six of Crows, the duology by Leigh Bardugo. And I don't have Six of Crows here, but I do have Crooked Kingdom. And this book series is amazing. And I want to focus on a character in this novel that I learned so much about by doing this project for school, and it's Kaz Brecker. He's the main character in this novel, but he has a disability that completely changed my perspective on him once I took my head out of the story and looked into the reality of a situation. So Kaz had a really complicated past. His father died, he had to move, he became a petty thief, his brother died, which basically all the things encompassing his past caused him to develop a debilitating fear of human touch and an injury to his leg where now he has to use a cane to walk and move from place to place. The image of disability in many people's mind is that it's a disadvantage in life in three important aspects: mobility, perception of life as a whole, and social integration. This is true for a lot of people in reality and in the normal world, but in the world that Leigh Bardugo creates, it's impossible for you to survive by having a disability and not learning to use it as your strength. And this is what Kaz does, and it's seen throughout the novel multiple times. In almost every battle scene, it's mentioned somehow. And I think that's amazing, just what he does to make it a strength. So I want to take this quote from Six of Crows, the first book. It basically explains his leg in a nutshell. So it says, "He'd broken his leg dropping down from the rooftop. The bone didn't set right, and he'd limped ever after. So he'd found himself a fabricator and had his cane made. It became a declaration. There was no part of him that was not broken, that had not yet healed wrong, and there was no part of him that was not stronger for having been broken." So throughout the novel, the reader hears stories about Kaz and situations where he has to learn how to use his leg to overcome the pain and the restrictions that came with a crippled leg. And this is seen specifically during one of the first battle scenes in the novel, where it's just Kaz. He's walking down an alley and he's attacked by an ethereal Kai, which is a Risha, which is a magical being on a drug called Jertaparum, and they're able to walk through walls. The magical being is able to hit Kaz right in his leg. The ethereal Kai is able to drug Kaz and takes him to his merchant boss. This scene is the most confusing, it's the simplest scene in concept, but the most confusing for the reader, because you are set up throughout the first 2 or 3 chapters that Kaz is this amazing human being and that he cannot be touched because of his influence in the gang community, because of the information he holds. And then you are in this scene where he just gets drugged and kidnapped. And you're like, what the heck happened? Are these the two same people? We see Kaz use his leg after this scene to his advantage multiple times. The common perception of disability is that it's a weakness to the person and to the people surrounding the subject, but Kaz thinks of it as the complete opposite once he learns how to use his leg. He often says throughout the book that his opponents never look past his limp and the cane that he wields, which gives him the element of surprise when in combat and when in confrontation. He also has had his cane specially made, which I mentioned before in that quote, so he could use it to his defense if he couldn't reach a gun or a knife or anything like that. During his first scene against one of the rival gangs, the gang boss seems to think of Kaz as a joke, not only because of his leg, but because of his young age. He is a young age of 17. The gang boss threatens Kaz by saying he has nowhere to go because they're in this open area, and if he tried to run, he wouldn't be able to get anywhere because of his crippled leg, and that he had snipers watching him from the rooftops. The gang boss is holding a gun to Kaz, and Kaz is able to swing his cane, disarm the gang boss, and leave the scene with no bloodshed of his own. Which this is the first time that we see Kaz use his cane as a weapon. And when I reread that scene for the second time, I realized just the power of that scene to the reader. Kaz is offered at the end of Crooked Kingdom to have his leg healed, for all the pain and the restrictions to go away, but he declines. Sometimes disabilities just become a part of somebody, and they can't imagine themselves living without it, and it has become a symbol for them as a human being. And that's what Kaz has internalized his leg. It's the memories of the things he has gone through to get where he is. Over time, his leg has degenerated, has caused him so much pain, but that's why he's where he is he's dealt with all the pain and the suffering that it takes to become someone in Ketterdam, in the barrel. And he's taken this weakness and made it a strength. And that's such a big symbol in the novel, that you can become anything from just something little living off the streets. I already knew Kaz was an insanely strong character, mentally and physically, but once I took my head out of the storyline and the drama that the story had, I was able to see the logistics of the situation. I just want to end with a quote. I'm not going to say goodbye. I'm just going to end with a quote. And it is in Crooked Kingdom. I'm just going to find it right now. This is just a great quote. Favorite quote from Kaz. It says, "I've taken knives, bullets, and too many punches to count, all for little pieces of this town. This is the city I bled for, and if Ketterdam hasn't taught me anything, it's that you can always bleed a little more." And that's it. See you guys later.